Hey everyone, I've just received the awesome 1/3 scale Batman from the Dark Knight by JND Studios. Chris, the Batman statue collector, has asked me to do a review on this piece, so that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to be covering the pros and cons, what I like, what I don't like, the head sculpts, just to give you guys a real good in-depth look at this statue. With that said, let's get into it. The statue comes in several parts. We've got the base, the body. The hands are also a separate part. The shoulder pads, which are also a separate part and just attach in via a peg and magnet. And we've obviously got the head sculpt, and also the cape is a separate part, which just slots into, see if I can get it to focus, just slots into two little gaps there at the collarbone. We'll start with the base. Now, if you're familiar with JND pieces, then this base will look very familiar, as they all follow the same design, an elegant square-shaped design with a theme top. In this case, it's just asphalt, nothing special, very similar to Joker's base, although missing the manhole cover that's on the Joker base, but it works well. It pairs up nicely with the Joker if you've got that one as well. The detail on the sculpt is quite nice, the paint job's good, no complaints, very basic. You've got the Dark Knight nameplate on the front. Batman attaches via a peg on that foot, and there's also a magnet on the base that secures this foot in place as well. One of the things I love about JND statues is their level of detail even in the sculpted sections, and this is also evident in the boots. Whilst they are fully sculpted, the micro detail on the sculpt would almost have you think they are real leather. We'll just get a closer look and see if I can capture some of that detail on camera. Apologies if the camera is a little shaky. But if you look closely, you can see the texture, the leather-like texture in the sculpt, which is pretty cool. Same thing with this one, which gives it a better view. Very nice detail, very happy with it. Moving on to the body, it is fully sculpted with great detail. They've done a really awesome job of capturing the different elements of the suit. Everything from the rubber panels to the mesh underbody, right down to the carbon fiber panels. So we'll just get in and get a closer look here at the different elements of the suit. One thing I really liked, something that stood out to me, was the sculpt on the gloves. They've done a really awesome job of capturing the texture of the fabric. So even though it's fully sculpted, from a distance it does kind of look like fabric. It's really cool. We'll check this one out as well. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but especially there, right on the wrist part, it's honestly pretty awesome. See if I can actually. Don't know if it's going to focus. Come on. There we go. Also, something to note, there is a bit of play on the arms. So what I mean by that is, I don't want to do it now, but they do somewhat rotate sort of left and right a little bit, which brings the whole arm closer to the body or further away. So I noticed when I unboxed mine, when I put in that hand, it was almost touching his thigh, whereas this one had a decent gap. And then I actually figured that out by accident. As I was handling it, I noticed this arm move slightly. So just keep that in mind if you are picking this guy up. You can actually rotate the arms to create them, to make them symmetrical, so they both have even gaps and you don't risk damaging the paint when swapping the hands out. Also something which I thought was pretty cool, I don't know if I'll be able to catch this on camera, I'm just going to drop the exposure down a little bit, but the belt is actually weathered, which I thought was really cool. So it's not just flat gold, it does have some weathering around all the instruments. It is very subtle, but it's enough that it does add a nice element of interest to it. If I was to nitpick anything on this suit, it's probably these carbon fiber panels. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think they look bad. I actually like them quite a bit, but it's not screen accurate. So on the screen worn suit, they have a tinted matte finish to them. Whereas for whatever reason, JND have made these completely transparent and also very glossy. In fact, the camera doesn't actually pick up just how glossy they are. I personally like it. So I don't actually see it as a flaw, although inaccurate, I do think it looks good. The other reason I like it is I used to own the JND Studios 1.3 and it's accurate on theirs. They use a matte paint to achieve that look, and on mine, when I cleaned it on the collarbone area, the paint actually rubbed off a little bit, which really annoyed me. So I don't know if it's a flaw with that statue or just an issue with mine. I haven't seen that complaint from anyone else, but I'm kind of glad that they don't have it on this statue, because it's just one less thing for me to worry about. Probably my other complaint is the cape. I honestly just don't like it. The JND Studios cape, although that one is not accurate either and it's got its own problems, it had a really nice weight to it, so it drapes really well. This one, not only is the colour on, it's just not a deep enough black, but it's a very stiff fabric, so it doesn't drape very nicely at all. You can get it to sit right. I probably can't see that well on camera because of the light from the window. Try to come from the other side. It's not too bad, but it is a bit of a pain in the ass to adjust and get it to look nice, especially if you're pretty fussy. So I would highly recommend steaming the cape, which is what I did. I took it out and I laid it out on my table. Speaking of which, I don't know if it's accurate to scale, but this cape is absolutely huge. It's very, very wide. It was almost as wide as this table that I've got him sitting on, which is a very big table. But if you take the time to set him up correctly with the cape, it does look pretty good. Thankfully, it does just slot in. So the cape has, I'll get it to focus, it has two clips on each end, these little plastic clips, and they just simply slot in into two slots inside the collarbone, there and there. So a custom cape is an option if you want to go down that path. I don't know if I'm going to do that just yet. It looks pretty good now as is, so we'll see. If someone does offer a custom cape, I'd probably consider it. One thing I forgot to mention about the body is something they got right that no other company has got right before, and that's the proportions. JND have absolutely nailed it in this regard. The combination, I'll see if I can step back and just get a really good idea of what I'm talking about, but the combination of body proportions and volume is honestly perfect. It's just something that other companies have struggled to achieve, which always made them look a little off to me. When I look at this, it literally looks like Christian Bale in the suit. So kudos to JND for getting this part right. Probably something that's a little bit difficult for me to capture on camera. There we go. Yeah, he looks pretty good. But I do have a ton of pictures on Facebook, so please view those. It'll give a really good idea as to what I'm talking about in regards to the body proportions. Moving on to the most important part of this statue, and that is this amazing head sculpt. This and the unmasked Bale portrait are honestly probably the most impressive portraits I've ever seen, and I've been collecting since 2010. They are honestly that good. I don't think pictures do these sculpts justice. The new paint technique that JND have used, it honestly makes the skin areas look like real skin. And that's not an exaggeration. You'll see that on the unmasked portrait. But in regards to the Batman portrait, I just think they've nailed it. The expression, the facial expression, the illusion of a real person's head under the cowl. Even the eyes, the glass eyes that they use, I don't know if I can capture that on camera, but they're just honestly phenomenal. You know, I don't think... I've never been truly satisfied with previous versions of Christian Bale's portrait, whether it be 1/6 or other statues that other companies have made. I don't think anyone's really gotten it right until now. I'm honestly super happy with this. There are some purists out there who will say that the cowl isn't 100% accurate to the screen worn cowl, and they're probably right. I don't notice it. To me, that just looks dead on Christian Bale from the movie. I've never seen the actual prop in real life. If I compare this to screenshots of the movie, I can't see a difference. So to me, this looks really good, and honestly, for most people, I doubt they'd actually notice a difference between this and the real cowl. It's certainly the best and the closest that anyone has ever gotten, and I don't think anyone will actually beat this. It's that good. I'll see if I can get a little bit closer. This is probably my favorite part of this whole set. And that's purely down to just how incredibly awesome this head sculpt is. It is honestly remarkable what JND have achieved here. As I said before, this is literally the best head sculpt I've ever seen in any scale. And I've been collecting for a long time, since 2010. So I'm not exaggerating. I have never seen anything this lifelike, and that includes one-to-one busts. And a lot of that comes down to JND's new paint technique, which this is their first statue using that new technique to achieve more lifelike skin colors. And they just seem to get better and better at the rooted hair. But for me, it's the skin. It's this incredible skin tone. I don't know if I can capture this on camera on the footage, but it is just so incredibly lifelike. When you combine it with the silicone sculpt, it literally looks like real skin. In fact, it's somewhat creepy, especially when you go to touch it. Like mine came with a lot of loose hairs just sort of stuck on the skull, so I had to clean it. And when I was sort of cleaning around the ear, it just felt like I was actually touching a real person's ear, because it just moves and it just looks so real. So that's something that I'll always find sort of a little bit creepy. But I'm just amazed that JND, they just keep evolving, and I never thought that we would get paint jobs like this on a mass-produced statue. Even the hair, I'm just going to look from up top for a bit, but they've done a really great job with the hair as well. They replicated the prototype really well. In fact, from a distance, it kind of looks like sculpted hair. So I'll just go down again. their styling team have done an incredible job with the hair. The sideburns are actually part of the silicone sculpt, which it does help. Something that they've haven't done well in the past, and that's their hairlines. I think they've done a really good job here personally. Overall, I'm very, very happy with it. You know, you've got the signature glass eyes. We'll try and see if I can get it to focus. I'm probably too close. There we go. These glass eyes are incredible. If you've never seen a JND piece in person, I strongly suggest that you try and get a good look at one in person if you can. You'll honestly be blown away. It's just, you really can't appreciate what you're seeing until you see them in hand. Just little things like the micro details in these eyeballs. You just can't appreciate on camera like you do in hand. Now, it's not perfect, so now that I've got all the positives out the way, I will talk about the things that kind of bother me about this. One is they did kind of overdo it with the red tones. I've seen some people commenting, they made some comments, and which made me laugh, that he looks like he's got a cold in some of my pictures. And I did agree. To be honest, it was mainly those pictures. The red tones were somewhat exaggerated. You can probably see in this video, the red doesn't look anywhere near as pronounced as it does in those photos. I still think they overdid it a little bit. Almost felt like they were trying a little bit too hard to show off the new paint technique and the way they can blend different tones. But you know, it's predominant in the nose area, a little bit on the cheeks, and also on the ears. So it's not too bad. It doesn't really bother me. It just adds that element of realism that makes this sculpt so impressive. The other aspect of it that somewhat bothers me is he does look a little bit older than he should. Now, I've also seen comments saying the same thing. To be honest, in those pictures that I've shared, he does look older than what he does in hand. For whatever reason, those pictures just greatly enhance all the little details in his face, everything from the different lines and wrinkles to the elements of paint that add to his age. I'd say in hand, he probably looks a good 5 years older than he should, but no more than that. It's honestly a nitpick. Otherwise, I think they've done an incredible job with this sculpt. To me, in my opinion, it's certainly the best Christian Bale portrait I've ever seen. And I've previously had the 1.3 from JND Studios. I've had a couple of the Hot Toys versions. I've had the quarter scale Hot Toys, the DX12, a custom, but nothing has truly blown me away like this. And I think it's just a combination of what I think is a pretty damn good likeness. Not perfect, but close enough. But it's that realism that just puts this over the top, over anything else that I've seen before. And I love the fact that they give you this cool little bust to display it on. You know, it's not just a boring stand, it actually looks quite nice. So it makes a very nice display piece on its own. So we'll just get a good look at this from different angles, because silicone sculpts can be a little bit tricky to photograph. You know, they can look drastically different due to lighting conditions. You know, different lighting conditions can make them appear far different than what they normally would. But I think JND sculpts, they translate reasonably well on camera. So yeah, that's that. Guys, that concludes the review. I hope you all enjoyed it. Shout out to Chris, the Batman statue collector, for having me on the channel and for asking me to do this review. Really enjoyed putting this one together. If you got this guy coming, you're in for a treat. You're gonna love him. Let us know what you guys think in the comments, and see you next time.
Hey guys, it's Chris the BSC. I just wanted to add my thoughts on this because again, Nuri did a phenomenal job with this video. I cannot thank him enough. But I will say, looking at this lineup, it's really quite impressive. And I've been a bit critical of JND and their face sculpts I do think that this is by far their absolute best figure that they've done to date. I think the sculpt looks great. This is, to me, the definitive Dark Knight Batman. I think it's absolutely phenomenal. Of course, it looks great next to, like, this is the Queen Studios Joker. Just very, very impressive pieces here. Obviously, they all look great, but from top to bottom, I do feel like this is by far the best JND piece. I am blown away by it. If I find one at a decent price, I'm going to pick it up myself. But anyway, I just wanted to share my thoughts again. Thank you so very much to our reviewer. Absolutely phenomenal, and congratulations to him on picking this incredible piece up. Like, comment, and subscribe. See you in the Batcave.